On this amazing episode of UTR, we go to Oscoda on the Sunrise side for some fantastic Red Fork food, I'll explain later, a trip to the moon and back, and a healthy hike to Lumbermans Monument. Heck, we'll even meet the one and only Donut King. Get ready to explore the cool people, places, and things that make Oscoda absolutely awesome.
Pure is what you make of it. It's taken it all in and never taken anything for granted. The sun sets, the moon rises, and you realize the end of one perfect summer day is the beginning of another. Pursue your pure in Pure, Michigan.
A visit to the Stahl's Auto Collection will take you back to a time when cars were more than just a way to get around. A fantastic assortment of gas pumps, neon signs, and automated music machines dating back 150 years that must be seen and heard. Info at stahlsauto.com.
Brought to you by Midland, Michigan, a Great Lakes Bay region community. Visit gogreat.com for more info.
I've been around the world, but there's one place I keep coming back to. And the more I explore, the more I realize it's the place to be. I'm Tom Dalton, and this is Under the Radar, Michigan.
Now, we all know that when you're making lakeside stay and play plans, you're supposed to go to Oscoda. That's their new city slogan, as far as you know.
No, it's not.
Oscoda is a great little town that's right on the shores of Lake Huron, and it has everything you need to make some awesome Michigan memories, no matter the reason or the season. The wonderful walkable downtown has lots of little interesting shops, comfy places to get a bite to eat, and even places like the Sunrise Cava Cafe, where you can stop and get a coffee and even a sensational snack. There's also the historic Lake Theater right downtown to help make your evenings more entertaining, and the iconic little ice cream parlor called Parkside Dairy, where you can treat all your sweet teeth. And lodging alert! There's also tons of cool, comfy, and colorful places to stay right on the water, and lots of lake access, with a beautiful white sand sunbathing beach and an impressive pier right in downtown. Bonus, from breathtaking views of the Huron-Manistee National Forest to a majestic riverboat cruise, this area has the awesome nature and the in-town nurture you need to feel like you've done your vacation right. So grab pen and paper or your trusty computer and get ready to take some notes, because we're going to go where you know you're supposed to go, Oscoda. Now, for those who don't know, Oscoda is located on Michigan's beautiful Sunrise side, just 20 minutes due north of Tawas on US 23. Well, first up, we start with a fork, a big red one. Oh, that? I'll explain him later. Yep, I'm talking about the Red Fork Restaurant right on 23, just 10 minutes north of Oscoda in Greenbush. It's cool, comfortable, and offers a cuisine that's a little more eclectic than you'd expect in these parts. And that's because its chef and owner Carrie Vanderheuvel is a fourth-degree foodie on a mission. And her mission is to please your palate with her mouth-watering homemade masterpieces. But why the name Red Fork? And what's with the big red rooster out front? Well, I'm glad you asked, because that's what I'm about to do. Okay, Carrie, my first question for you is an obvious one. The name of the restaurant is the Red Fork. Mm-hmm. What's with the giant red rooster out front?
So the rooster's there because I believe in 1976 is when this building was built, and this has been the Red Rooster for the dawn of time. When I bought it, I chose to change the name to the Red Fork because if I didn't change the name, everyone would assume it's the same restaurant.
Right.
And I didn't feel that it was the same restaurant.
I love telling people, well, you should check out the Red Fork. It's great. Just look for the big red rooster. And then the look on their faces is like, what? What did you just say? Well, why the name Red Fork?
So when I was buying the restaurant and wanting to change the name, I didn't know what way to go, but there was a story that I had read on Facebook, and it was a grandma to a granddaughter about when you go to a restaurant and you have dinner, what follows dinner but dessert. So keep your fork, because the best is yet to come. And so I felt like that was a good thing for the restaurant as well, because even though we're changing the name, I still felt like it was the best is yet to come for this place.
And your food, like you said, is so eclectic. It's like you do regular standard stuff that you'd expect in a diner or a small restaurant, along 23. But then, like you said, the ahi tuna, I understand your pizzas are amazing.
I think they're pretty good. We've played around with the recipe the last couple of years, and we've dialed in on a from-scratch sauce that I think is absolutely wonderful. And we use like a high-quality cheese, so it's like the perfect combination, I think.
And you guys even bake your own bread here.
We do, yep. And we try to make all of our desserts, and sometimes in the summer that's challenging because we are so busy, but we still at least have something for people.
In the kitchen, what would you say is your X-Men power? What's your strength in the kitchen?
I guess like thriving when it's busy. Like I can go from helping on the line to running out here and seeing where needs to be addressed, whether that table needs a water or that table needs this. Like when it's super busy, I think anyone in the kitchen or anyone that works in this industry can relate. Like you get a rush from when it's busy and making sure everything is done. And I don't know, I guess if I have a superpower, that's it.
Obviously the community loves what you're doing here, because again, full disclosure, I've been here quite a few times. And it's always full of people that just love you. I can tell they love you and they love what you're doing.
So when I moved again down here, obviously I was worried about leaving like my hometown, but I've never actually felt more at home than I do. So I live in Harrisville, obviously the restaurant's in Greenbush, but I still have that feeling of like, this is home. I also try and give back and help out as much as I can. I joined city council and trying to give back, and I feel if you truly do support your community, like they will support you. And in the wintertime is the hardest, but we made it, and this is our 3rd year, so I don't plan on going anywhere soon.
Well, obviously, like I said, the community loves what you're doing. Do you source locally as well?
We do. We have switched that up a little bit, and we are working with Wandering Winds Bakery, and they make their homemade sourdough breads. And so we're getting our bread from there now. We also get our maple syrup from the high school, Alcona Schools, from their FFA program. And then the milk isn't local, but I do support Cedar Lake Grocery, and I buy my milk from him.
It's funny you should mention Cedar Lake Grocery, because we're going there to meet the Donut King. So do I need to curtsy when I meet him, or?
You could.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll practice. Not only is Carrie's enthusiasm contagious, she's also a great inspiration for anyone who's dreaming of owning their own restaurant. She works hard and puts her heart and soul into every plate she serves. And speaking of plates being served, it was time for me to show my true appreciation for Carrie's craft, aka eat. And everything I tasted was, in a word, supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. If you want to feel like you belong to a true foodie family, roll into the Red Fork for some home-cooked food from the heart. I guarantee that once you table up at this friendly place, it'll be love at first bite. And second, and third, and fourth.
When you hear me say to the moon and back, I'm usually talking about how much I love my kids. But if you say that in Oscoda, well, you're going to love this place too.
And that's because To the Moon and Back is a magical, mystical place where you can not only buy unique, one-of-a-kind art and gifts, it's also where you can explore your inner universe and find your sea of tranquility. That's right, all the dimensions of your mind, body, and spirit can be conquered, cognized, and supersized at this one-of-a-kind, dazzling destination. Jackie and Lane McKenzie are a cool, eclectic couple who looked inward, offered outward, and conjured up this creative place.
I love your saying, and it's even on your website, when you say, in healing myself, I heal the world. Because that's so true. It's really hard to wrap your head around what all you guys do here. It's almost like you have to kind of take yourself get out of your head to understand it, right?
A little bit, yeah. We're doing a lot of things. In general, though, everything that we're trying to do is to create community and some way of healing, like you said, so that the crystals and the incense and the candles and stuff like that, they're all part of it, but it's mostly the community that we're trying to build with the workshops, with yoga, with all that kind of stuff.
Where did the name To the Moon and Back come from? I love that expression.
Well, it started with my aunt. My mom passed away, and so she kind of took over the mom role. And so she would always say to me, I love you to the moon and back. And so then I started saying it to my daughter. And so it just became this thing we said to each other. And so it was like, why not? Let's have a shop named that. And it doesn't mean that it has to be anything. It keeps us open to be whatever we want to be. So
it evolves that way to be just like, okay, I want to get more into the crystals, and then we'll slowly start to bring those more in. Or, oh man, I think we need a boutique in town because we don't have one. Let's get some more clothes. So it lets us flow a little bit more because people see To the Moon and Back. There's no real, like, what is that? I have no idea. Is that a retail shop? Is that something else? And that kind of is how we like it, so that people have to walk in and see it for themselves, because it's really hard to describe what it is.
You guys you must be such creative minds. You must just sit at night with incense burning and your crystals and thinking, I'm trying to imagine what it's like at your house in the evening, but.
So we always wanted to get more involved in the art scene, and that was half the reason why we brought local artists in, because we want to make sure that everyone feels like they can have a space and that it still fits our aesthetic. We have like kind of a curated feel so that it kind of goes with each other. But for the most part, it's just being able to have somewhere that, like, oh, I can put my art up and have a conversation about it. So
you guys could do this anywhere in the world, obviously. Why Oscoda?
Lake Huron called us here. We always wanted to live on the water. We were from the Metro Detroit area originally, and that was always the thought, is we're gonna live on the water when we retire or whatever it is. But I had a mental breakdown at work when I used to work for a grocery store.
Been there.
And I was like, I don't think I can do this anymore. Just had our daughter, and it was 70-hour weeks. I couldn't do it. And she gave me the out to say, okay, this isn't worth it. Let's figure out what we want to do. And we were in our early 30s. So it's like, okay, time's a wasting. We need to figure out what we want to do for our next step. And we just started looking up places on the water, doing a retreat center type of thing. And we found a place right down the road, and that's what kind of got us to Oscoda. We have no real connection here. We came maybe to vacation, I think, once. But it was nice, and we're like, okay, fine. And we went up for a weekend, took a look at the location, and we were hooked because it was right on Lake Huron. So,
like it was meant to be.
Yeah, we believe that.
Do you guys think you have a crystal large enough that can help me? I mean, I might need a big crystal.
I don't know, we got a few big ones
I think we
there.
got you covered.
Yeah.
I might need a stalactite.
Well, lucky for me, Jackie and Lane's dazzling little daughter Deb was doing inventory that day. Well, sort of. So she took me around the store and helped me pick out some awesome, unusual, and artistic treasures. Now, not only is she the cutest salesperson ever, I swear if you look up the word adorable in the dictionary, I think you'll see her picture. As one of their loyal fans once said, if you're looking for a Zen den with funkadelic fantastic finds and a place where you can expand your mind, To the Moon and Back is metaphysically mind-blowing. It's also a welcoming, inclusive place that's a whole heck of a lot of fun. Now, if you know Lumbermans Monument, it's a great place to learn, lift your legs, and look out over the awesome Au Yep, just 20 minutes west of Oscoda on East River Road, you'll find Lumbermans Monument. It's a massive and majestic 14-foot bronze statue that stands high above the Au River with amazing views of both the river and the Huron-Manistee National Forest. This is an incredible place where you can learn about the area's illustrious logging history, descend substantial stairs to the river, and even hike beautiful dune trails with tremendous views. Now, before I explore more, I thought it would be a good idea to tack on some talk time with park ranger extraordinaire Rob Reno.
You know, I've been coming to Oscoda for years and years. I'm not young. And the first time I came here to Lumbermans Monument, I was like, you've got to be kidding me. How did I not know about this place? It's incredible. How do you miss this monument? It's so cool. How long has that monument been there?
It's been here since about 1932 is when it was erected. The guy who made it was in New York. He made it in 1931. It got here on train in 1932. It was dedicated.
It's an incredible piece of art. And the fact that the lookout, the view behind it.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, like I said, the first time I came here, I'm like, why did I not know about this place? It's a real gem. But this is to commemorate the logging, the guys that worked so hard for how long did they actually cut this area?
I'd say about mid-1800s, 1850 to about the main part of the lumbering era was until about 1890, so about 40 years is what it took them to pretty much clear cut most of Michigan. It's actually kind of funny, the lumber barons, when they first arrived here, they had their scouts go out, check everything. They thought they had 500 years of sustainable timber, and they cut it all in about 40,
Yeah. Well, it helped build the country.
Oh yeah, dude. The prairie states, a lot of the expansion west was built with the lumber in Michigan. I think it was about 1895-ish or so. We were the highest timber producers in the United States at that time.
Well, again, people don't realize, people think all the sand dunes are on Lake Michigan.
Yep.
But here we are in Oscoda, and you've got these 200-foot huge sand dunes. And I did some research. There's 260 steps down to the river?
Yes, to the Wanagan here, 300 at Argo Springs.
Now the Wanagan, explain what that is again.
Okay, so a Wanagan is a cook shack, or I guess a convenience store for the lumbering people that were on the river. So it would have floated with the log drive, and then it would have supplied supplies, boot fixing, food for the guys who would have been up and down the river who didn't have access to those things.
Another thing that I didn't realize until my second or third time here is that you've got incredible trails here that the sand dune or the bluff trails that go along where these beautiful vistas looking out over the dunes and the river.
Yeah, so we got the High Banks Trail, which runs parallel here, and then we also have Eagle Run Trail runs along the river, but then we also have, I think, 3 or 4 more trail systems that you can walk on, like Corsair, Reed Lake, and Hoist Lake. But the main one that gets used is the High Banks, just because of all the views you get through here.
Yeah, I mean, and it's only, how far is the trail? It's not that far.
I think from here you're about in the middle, so it's 7 miles one way, or 3.5 miles one way either way.
So you can come here just to see the beautiful vistas. You can come here to hike these incredible forests. And lucky for us, these things grow back.
Oh yeah.
I noticed Paul Bunyan left his pickup sticks game over here, over there. What is that? That's amazing.
So yeah, that's the log jam. So the kids can go over. So it's a replica of a log jam, kind of just to see what it would have been like on the river. And then it's kind of turned into a little bit of a jungle gym. So the kids come out and they get to climb on the logs and mess around and all this stuff, as long as their parents are cool with it.
You're very lucky, and we're lucky to have people like you doing this.
Well, thank you, sir.
Yeah, because these are treasures, and this is.
Oh yeah.
Every time I see that view, I'm just blown away.
Oh no, yeah. Honestly, even for me, like I've lived in Michigan most of my life, and I've been on the Oscoda and stuff. But until I got the job out here, I never, like you said, you kind of just missed it. Never even knew this. Like I actually remember thinking, like, lumbering. What did they have a monument for lumbering? And then you come out and learn the history and realize that it was actually a pretty big thing. And then you see views like this, and you kind of forget when you live in Michigan that there's so many beautiful places in Michigan. I guess for me, anyways.
Well, after a rousing round with Rob, I descended the stairs with Ranger Maggie Tebow because I really wanted to see that Wanagan. Now, the walk down was a breeze, and the views were spectacular. And seeing how the loggers lived and ate was extremely cool. Boy, did we have a great time filling our brains with fascinating facts, our lungs with oxygen, and our eyes with a variety of vistas. Heck, I even made it back up those stairs. I think I can. I hope I can. I also hiked the beautiful dune trails. Holy smokes, look at that view. And made a complete day of it. Lumberman's Monument really is a multi-dimensional and magical place that was meant for you to see. Thanks so much to Rob, Maggie, to Lynn, and all of the proud people at the U.S. Forest Service for protecting and perpetuating this pure Michigan treasure. They deserve a tip of the old UTR cap for sure. What a great place to be.
You know, I came to the Cedar Lake grocery store here in Greenbush just to grab a gallon of milk. And what's with all the people in the parking lot? What are you guys here for? Donuts! Sounds good.
Well, after an enthusiastic response like that, I guess there's only one thing left to do, and that's to go inside and meet the king. I'm of course talking about Scotty Parent, a genuine donut king in these here parts. And if you come to his parking lot on any given Saturday morning, you'll find him serving up a sweet selection of these deep-fried food finds for his loyal subjects. Now, what's a mighty monarch who owns a little grocery store doing serving up donuts? Well, I'm glad you asked, because I requested an audience with His Majesty to find out.
Your Highness, may I approach?
Absolutely.
So, Scotty, how long have you been doing this donut thing? How long have you been the donut king?
37 years.
So, you think you got it down by now?
It's pretty well pat.
Yeah, well, you think? Have you seen the line in the parking lot? I mean, how often do you do this?
Every Saturday and Sunday all year round.
You make deep-fried, fresh, handmade donuts and sell them to your adoring subjects.
Yes. Very faithful subjects, eh?
Oh, well, obviously. Oh, my gosh. People come from far and wide. Ever since we got to town, all we've been hearing is, "Oh, you're going to see Scotty, aren't you? Going to see Scotty? You mean the Kang, the Donut King?" Extraordinary. When did you come up with this? I mean,
we had a store out at Old Orchard.
Yeah.
And Saturdays and Sundays, there wasn't much going on. My father-in-law had a donut machine. He'd bring out a couple of trays of donuts, and we'd start selling them out there on Saturday and Sunday. Well, it got to, he had to bring so many out, we took the machine out there and started there. And then when we came here, we kept it going. So, but
what kind of donuts you make?
They're cake donuts, regular cake donuts with all the different frostings and
chocolate glaze, vanilla glaze, cinnamon sugar, chocolate peanut, coconut, rainbow sprinkle. Oh my gosh. But this is actually just a regular little, it's like a local grocery store. You come here to get your provisions when you're up here on vacation or whatever. You come here for some milk, some eggs, some adult, frosty cold adult malted beverages. Obviously the donuts though are the most popular thing you're ever going to do here.
You'll find people all over that have them. You might want to take a gander at that map there. Everybody that's been in here, we put a pin in the map.
And you got them from how far do people come for the donuts?
We've had somebody from Colorado already.
Oh my goodness!
They have a cottage over here, but they come in the summer and then they take like 2 or 3 dozen home with them on the plane when they go back. So.
Oh my gosh! Well, we stopped in town for coffee this morning. At the Cava Cafe.
Right.
And everybody there said, "Oh, you're going to Scotty's, right? You go to get the donuts, right?" And they were all getting coffee and then on their way up here to get in line.
Yep. The 4th of July is our biggest weekend. This weekend we'll probably do close to 200 dozen donuts. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. And then during the winter it's like 8 dozen, 9 dozen, but we still do them every week. So.
Well, what do you love about the people up in this area?
They're very friendly. Everybody gets in line. They find out they live by somebody else.
I was going to make that point that there's people out there making friends, making connections, and who knows, they could end up being lifelong buddies or friends or whatever, and they meet each other standing in the line here for your donuts.
Yep. And we got like 3 generations of grandpa, mom and dad, and then the kids, and they got kids, and so we were here when they were little.
So what's the secret to longevity, eating these donuts?
Yes, I still eat one or two every time I make them, so these are pretty good. So.
Oh, pretty good? That's all I've been hearing about for 2 days now is about the donut. You got to see the Donut King. Got to go see the Donut King. So, well, thanks for not having a moat since you're the king. Yeah, so.
Well, thank you for coming up. I really appreciate it. You do a tremendous job.
Well, it's time to make the donuts. Now it's time for Tommy to eat the donuts.
There you go.
Ding.
What kind would you like?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Well, after being dismissed by His Royal Highness, I decided to feast on a few of the king's finest. And I'm telling you, these donuts are G-O-O-D. And I should know, with as much as we eat on UTR. Hey, you guys, I bought one for all of us. Who wants second bite? Oh, sorry. Yeah, bad idea. Oh. So if you're heading up US 23 on the Sunrise side and you're near Greenbush, pull into Cedar Lake Grocery for a pile of provisions. And who knows, if you time it right, you just might meet this benevolent donut-making monarch. And since you're already heading up US 23, heck, you may as well stop for some awesome food, fun, and sun in Oscoda. Because remember, you're supposed to go to Oscoda. But then again, you know that.
Pure is what you make of it. It's taking it all in and never taking anything for granted. The sun sets, the moon rises, and you realize the end of one perfect summer day is the beginning of another. Pursue your pure in Pure, Michigan.
A visit to the Stalls Auto Collection will take you back to a time when cars were more than just a way to get around. A fantastic assortment of gas pumps, neon signs, and automated music machines dating back 150 years that must be seen and heard. Info at stallsauto.com.
Brought to you by Midland, Michigan, a Great Lakes Bay region community. Visit gogreat.com for more info.